There are creatures in the world that have been discovered by a few people but have not been proven to exist. We call these creatures unidentified mysterious animals, or UMA for short. Hello everyone, welcome to the UMA series of videos. This issue brings you an unknown creature, the Tatzelwurm, which is circulated in southern Europe. The Tatzelwurm refers to a lizard-like creature in the folklore of the Alps, including France, Switzerland, Italy, Austria, and Bavaria, Germany. It is called differently in different places, including Tatzelwurm, tunnel worm, mine dragon cave worm, and jumping worm. The descriptions of the Tatzelwurm vary greatly from country to country and century to century. The most common description is that it has a cat-like head and a body between 2 and 6 feet long, with only 2 front legs left, a snake-like hindquarters, and scales all over its body. Some places also describe it as being extremely poisonous, able to spit poisonous gas, and making a piercing roar that can cause people to faint. They can stand as tall as a human. They live in caves, they dig themselves and attack passing animals and humans. There are many legends about this creature, but I will only share 2 of the most popular stories here. The first one is that on a farm in Switzerland, a young girl was tidying up her beanstalks when she disturbed a Tatzelwurm resting in a cave and was attacked by it. The girl was frightened and ran away quickly. In this version, the Tatzelwurm is described as a gray creature the size of a house cat, with no hair and only 2 front legs. Another story tells of a father and son who were collecting herbs in the mountains. The man heard the child screaming, and he rushed over to find a terrible monster lying under a rock near the child. It hissed like a snake, had a cat's face, and had a pair of bright, big eyes. The man immediately picked up a stick and stabbed the creature. Unexpectedly, his skin was very soft and was easily pierced. But strangely, the green blood spurting out of the wound severely burned the man's legs, causing him to limp home, and the journey became long and arduous. No matter which legend it is, it shows that this is a strange and dangerous creature. There are countless sightings of this creature, the earliest of which can be traced back to the 18th century. In 1779, a man named Hans Forchers encountered 2 Tatzelwurms while picking blueberries in the mountains near the Alps in Tyrol, Austria. He described the creatures as being 5 to 7 feet long, with a snake-like body, a cat-like head, 2 front claws, and a mouthful of sharp fangs. Forchers was so shocked that he ran home and told his family about the incident, and then died of a heart attack in the same place due to shock. Nearly 100 years later, in July 1883, another man named Caspar Arnold saw the Tatzelwurm, and he was very sure that the creature he saw had only 2 front legs. In 1828, a farmer in Solothurn, Switzerland, found the body of a Tatzelwurm in a dried-up swamp. He took it to a local professor who reported it to Heidelberg. The body was accidentally lost on the way to Heidelberg. There is another version of the record of this incident. It is said that when the farmer took the body away, crows ate most of it, causing the specimen to be damaged. In the 19th century, there were many sightings of the Tatzelwurm, such as the Gutenberg sighting in Switzerland in 1811 and the Tatzelwurm sighting in 1807. It is worth mentioning that in that era, the Tatzelwurm was generally believed to be a real creature. The following is what really made the Tatzelwurm known to the public. Still in the 20th century, when sightings peaked, 2 Austrians reported seeing a Tatzelwurm near Rauschli, Salzburg in 1921. It could jump 9 feet high, had a gray body about 2 to 3 feet long, and a feline head. In 1929, an Austrian schoolteacher reported seeing a Tatzelwurm. He tried to catch the creature, but it was so agile that it quickly escaped into a hole and disappeared. In 1954, a Swiss photographer named Balkan claimed to have accidentally photographed the Tatzelwurm near the Alps in Meiringen, Switzerland. The photo caused quite a stir at the time, and the Berlin Illustrated magazine even sponsored an expedition to find the Tatzelwurm, but it ultimately failed. Later, the photo was generally considered to be a hoax, and cryptozoologists believed that it was a ceramic fish prepared by Balkan in the following 1960. There were similar sightings in 1969, 1970, 1990, 1991, and 1997-1992. The author will not describe them one by one here. Until 2000, a strange biological skeleton appeared in people's vision. It was donated to the Geneva Institute of Science along with a large amount of financial aid and was studied by scholars. They were unable to determine what specific creature the remains belonged to. Ultimately, biologists at the institute said this could be the first physical evidence of the Tatzelwurm, long considered a mythical creature. But strangely, neither the original owner nor the donor of the skeleton has come forward, and the German law firm Günther Haus, which handled the transaction, has refused to reveal any information. The last report was in 2009. There have been many similar reports in Tresfio, Italy, near the Swiss border. Local officials attributed these reports to escaped pet lizards, but one eyewitness was very sure that what he saw was not a crack. In July, a fruit farmer from Pengpai, Italy, reported seeing a strange lizard-like creature with scales that looked like a kangaroo crawling on the main road in the village, etc. In summary, there are many eyewitness accounts of the Tatzelwurm. So, does this mysterious creature really exist? According to the information the author has found, the mythological nature of this creature is very complex. In legends, it is often associated with a mysterious dragon and is called the Alpine dragon. Unlike ordinary Western dragons, this is more like a half-snake, half-dragon creature. The oldest record of it is the story of a dragon slayer in the 14th century. Before Rudolf's time, there was a snake-like dragon that lived in a cave near Minschwanstein Castle and had a great impact on the local residents. A criminal named Heinrich von Winkelried accepted the task of slaying the dragon in exchange for his freedom. He fought the dragon with a spear and successfully killed it. But when he raised his weapon in celebration, the dragon's blood dripped from the weapon and touched his skin, killing him instantly. And this dragon. It is considered to be the earliest prototype of the Tatzelwurm. In 1660, a man named Andreas Roduna encountered a four-legged cat-faced dragon in Sarganserland. He described the creature standing up, with its hind legs as tall as a man, and with boar-like bristles on its back. There are many similar sightings recorded by later generations in their works. But since the creatures recorded in these records are all called dragons, so I did not include it in the sightings of the Tatzelwurm here. In the early 19th century, molluscologist Samuel Studer and Swiss folklorist Johann Rudolf Weiss conducted in-depth research on the history of the appearance of the Tatzelwurm and established that the Tatzelwurm was not a dragon. According to the two's interviews and investigations, most local people described it as a poisonous short-legged snake with a cat's head, which was defined as a snake because it started in the 17th century. Alpine herders mentioned that the Tatzelwurm had a habit of sucking milk from cows. They would bring a white rooster with them when grazing to prevent this from happening. As we all know, roosters are the nemesis of snakes and worms, so the possibility that the Tatzelwurm is a snake species is very high. As for the name, the first half of the name of the Tatzelwurm we hear now is a transliteration component, and Tessorum is a German word. Translated, it means a snake with legs. In fact, in Switzerland, where the most sightings are reported, they prefer to call this creature stolen worm, which literally means tunnel worm, because this creature seeks out crevices in the mountainsides to hibernate in winter. Snake-like tail, fierce venom, and claws for hibernation. Based on these descriptions alone, this is most likely a member of the Gila monster family, such as the Gila monster or the pig monster. This is the most common explanation for the Tatzelwurm. Naturalist Carl Wilhelm von Daratore also explained in his 1887 history of the Alpine dragons that these so-called dragons should actually be identified as species of lizards or snakes. But the problem is that the only known species of the family of venomous lizards are found across the Denmark Strait in Mexico and in Guatemala to the south. And the two key features of the cat head and only forelimbs cannot be explained in this statement. Zoologist Richard Freeman believes that this may be the Australian lungfish. Lungfish is a very peculiar freshwater fish. Their air sacs have evolved to act as lungs, allowing them to breathe in air. This fish once multiplied on the Earth in ancient times, and it still preserves the continuation of the race. It can be said to be a living fossil. The Australian lungfish is the largest species of lungfish ever discovered and can grow up to 5 feet long and weigh up to 95 pounds. But the problem with this statement is that the tail fin of the lungfish is not very long, and it is not poisonous, and it will not attack humans. And the most obvious difference is that the lungfish does not hibernate in winter, but in summer, which is completely different from the Tatzelwurm. In fact, the author believes that this creature is a possible personal tendency, and it is an incompletely evolved snake. For example, the true-legged snake, which was extinct in the Cretaceous period, is considered to be a transitional form between Cretaceous lizards and ignorant snakes. Most fossils were found in the form of 4-legged snakes and are preserved in the Burgmüller Museum in Germany. There is such a strange fossil specimen. In September 2006, a citizen named Ma in Ligny City, Shandong Province, my country, caught a double-spotted alaf with 4 limbs. A professor of life sciences at Ligny Normal University said, "This should be a kind of atavism after gene mutation." In addition, the climate in the Alps is diverse and the humidity is high, which is suitable for the survival of cave-dwelling creatures. It is also possible that some rare creatures have successfully evolved. Although we still have no way of knowing what kind of creature the Tatzelwurm is, at least it is one of the few UMAs that have been sighted in the 21st century, and perhaps in the near future. Someone will come to uncover the mystery of this creature. Whether it is a new species or a misidentification, it will provide important theoretical value and practical significance for the study of ecological protection and biological evolution. As the saying goes, the unknown is always greater than the known, which is also the charm of UMA. Well, this video ends here. Thank you for watching.